Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss a poem namely Kubla Khan written by S.T. Coleridge. You know S.T. Coleridge is one of the five romantic poets and his fame lies on supernaturalism. He makes natural supernatural. While reading his poems, we enjoy a sense of mystery, dreadfulness, fearfulness, and we are transported to the world of imagination, fancy, and romanticism. As a poet, Coleridge has much fascination too. The medievalism, the medieval history of romance, medieval romances, which have so many supernatural elements, and Coleridge has written this poem Kubla Khan in 1797 and it was published in 1860. Now the poem Kubla Khan is written based on a story, meaning the poem has a composition story. According to Coleridge's words, once upon a time Coleridge became ill, and as per the prescription of the physician, he had been taking opium, and because of this side effect of the opium, he feels sleepiness and he enters an inn and falls asleep. Before falling asleep, he was reading a book, namely Pilgrimage, written by Parkas. It is one kind of history book based on the Chinese civilization related to Kubla Khan and Genghis Khan. While reading the story, the poet falls asleep. After sleeping for long 3 hours, he wakes, and during that sleep, he sees a vision of Kubla Khan and his orders and etc. Now he gathers some events, some incidents, some images from the Chinese history. On waking from the sleep, he plans to commit his dreams into black and white. That's why he starts to write his dream into black and white, but unfortunately his friend calls out and he is taken out of the inn and detained for 1 hour. After coming back, he has discovered that he had forgotten, he cannot recollect his dream. He repents that if that would not happen, then he could have written 2,000 to 3,000 lines out of the story of Kubla Khan. Right? So the critics think that even in the words of Coleridge, the poem is supposed to be fragmented one, incomplete one, but after reading the poem, we don't feel so. Now many think that the poet is said to be poet of imagination, and in this poem, meaning Kubla Khan, we see the maximum employment of the imagination. Now, let's come to the poem Kubla Khan. The very name suggests that the story of the book is related to Chinese history, and Kublai Khan, also known as Kublai Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, who is again the founder of Mongolia dynasty, right? So Coleridge starts with a line, in Xanadu did Kublai Khan a stately pleasure dome decree. Look at the word Xanadu. It is said to be specifically in the poem the capital city of Kublai Khan, but actually it is not a topographical place. It is an imaginary place, imaginary capital city, Xanadu. In Xanadu did Kublai Khan a stately pleasure dome decree. The stately pleasure dome meaning a edifice built in the shape of dome and which is meant for pleasure, and which should be with the tune of the king, meaning the palace will be kingly, where Alf, the sacred river, ran through caverns measureless to man down to a sunless sea. Look at the word Alf. Alp is said to be a sacred river, but geographically this river is unavailable. Something that the Alpesas, river Alpesas is in Greece, and Coleridge may be referring to that river, right? The river is said to be sacred and it ran through caverns, meaning the river is running through underground and it is reaching a sea which is sunless and which is unfathomable. So twice 5 miles of fertile ground with walls and towers were girdled round, and there were garden brights with sinuous rills, where blossomed many an incense bearing tree, and here were forests ancient as the hills, enfolding sunny spots of greenery. Now look at the setting. A river is flowing and the river is reaching the sunless sea. And now the area of the place is twice 5 miles, meaning 25 miles. The land is said to be fertile and it has been enclosed. It has been enclosed with the help of trees, right? And there is sinuous rills, and the trees have some blooms, flowers, and some fruits with perfume. And there is also forest. The forest is as old as ancient as hills. And the place is said to be sunny spot of greenery. The place is sunny and greenery is there. Green trees, green leaves, etc. are there. But oh, the deep romantic chasm, the caverns through which the river is flowing, is said to be romantic chasm, because such type of caverns is unavailable in the human world. It is only possible in the world of imagination, which slanted down the green hill athwart a sudden cover. Sudden is one kind of tree, and the tree is on the ground, and underneath that ground, that caverns is flowing, a savage place, meaning woody place, not habituate place of habitat. It is said to be savage place, as holy and enchanted. It is said to be holy and enchanted. Look at the opposite words placing side by side. As ever beneath a waning moon was haunted by woman wailing for her demon lover. Coleridge is always fond of mysterious love. To give the element of supernaturalism, an element of love, Coleridge uses this haunting story. A woman is wailing and she is waiting for her demon lover. And from this chasm, with ceaseless turmoil seething, as if this earth in fast thick pants were breathing. And as the water of the river, along with stones, pebbles, are passing through with force, one kind of vibration is created. And it seems that the earth is suffering from fever and it is trembling. And it is trembling. A mighty fountain momently was forced, meaning heavy current of water, heavy jet of water comes out of the vibration, amid whose swift, half intermittent burst, huge fragments vaulted like rebounded hail. And when the water is passing with pebbles and stones, the pebbles and stones are jumping. As we see during the hailstorm, the hails are jumping on the ground. In the same way, the rebounding hail or choppy grain beneath the thresher's flail. Look at the metaphor, cultivation metaphor. We know that the farmers, while threshing the grains of the crops or harvest, seems to be jumping. In the same way, the stones and pebbles of the water of the river are jumping, and this is said to be compared to choppy grain. And amid this dancing rock, at once and ever, it flung up momently the sacred river. Actually, the way the river comes out is described here. Look at the word dancing rocks. The rocks are as if dancing, right? And the river comes out, the sacred river, already mentioned. The river is Alps. 5 miles meandering with a mazy motion. Look at the word. The magnificent example of alliteration. Many miles, 5 miles meandering with a mazy motion, meaning the river is flowing in a zigzag way, in a sinuous way. Through wood and dale, the sacred river ran. It seems to be a geographical description of a river, and sank in tumult to a lifeless ocean. The river, while flowing through, is jumping as if trembling, and ultimately it reaches the lifeless ocean. Amid this tumult, Kubla Khan heard from her ancestral voices professing war. When the river is flowing, one kind of music is produced, and Kubla Khan thinks that it is the prophecy, it is the prediction of his forefathers for more blood-shedding wars. This sound seems to be instigating Mr. Kubla Khan for engaging himself in much blood-shedding warfare and conquest. So, thank you all. Hope you have understood well.